Well, hello, hello. We are streaming live from the patio, and Max is sitting, keeping an eye on what's going on out here. It's just beautiful, beautiful morning, right, Max? Just as I was starting the stream, he decided it was a good time to turn around. I'm going to shift the camera over to here. Oops, there we go, Max. Now we see your face. Yeah, if you're joining us, make sure you walk up in the comments. Let us know. I know, Max, you're having... Oops, it's windy. It's windy, honey. So windy. Yeah, it sure is. Oh, my goodness. We got our first person joining us. The harpsichord of Mozart from London, England. Well, hello, hello, hello. I think it's the first time I've seen you commenting. Hi, Karen. Oh my goodness, yeah, we're just having a coffee on the patio. Gorgeous morning out here. A bit of dappled shade. And it's not too warm yet. Hi, Bookshare. Bok Bok. Yeah. Well, let some folks join, and we're going to talk a little bit about the excitement that we had this weekend, huh, Max? You had so much fun. Do you think maybe you could turn to look at the camera, which is over here, hun? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, look at the cams. Yeah, it's a good morning for a cup of coffee, so... Such a good boy, aren't you? Such a very good boy. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Hello, Letica. Letica's joining us from Brazil. Ooh. Harpsichord says, I was thinking of buying a parrot, an African grey, or to Amazon. I'm going to share some thoughts on that. I'm usually pretty opinionated when it comes to adding a flock member. Go to a rescue and adopt. Don't buy a baby. Our rescues are overflowing with wonderful, wonderful birds who make, like Max is a rescue. He would have wound up not having a home. What happens quite often with the birds that live a long time, and not just the cockatoos, but greys and Amazons who can live 50 or 60 years, a lot of times people will adopt them and they don't know quite what they're getting into. And they want a parrot for right now. They don't understand it's a lifetime commitment. Or perhaps they get a bird and then they discover how much cleaning, how much noise, and how much effort it really takes. Because quite honestly, folks, if you're getting a large parrot, you have a special needs toddler for life. I don't mince my words on that. But what happens a lot of times, people will buy babies, they'll discover the bird does not fit well into their life, they didn't do their research, and the next thing you know, that bird is looking for their next home. They're looking for a forever home. So I really do encourage you to adopt through the rescues. They'll help make sure that the individual bird you get is going to be a good fit for your lifestyle and for you. You'll get an opportunity to understand the personality of the bird first before you make a huge commitment. And with babies, you cannot tell personality yet. You really can't. With birds as they start to get older, you start to see who that bird really is, right, Max? It's not to say that birds can't change over time, but when people buy baby birds, as soon as that bird hits what in humans you'd call the terrible twos, and they start to express opinions and everything else, oh boy, you're in for a rough ride. But if you get a bird who's a little bit older, who's already come into their feathers, so to speak, you are going to have a much better match. Right, Max? You're going to have a much better matchup for life. Oh, Max, look what's going on out there. Let's turn to the road. I don't know if you can see it. We just have a police car driving past. Yeah. You like men in uniform, don't you, Max? You sure do. Yeah. But yeah, I really do encourage people to adopt through the rescues because, you know, honestly, I think you're going to have a much, much better opportunity. Quite a few rescues will also help you do a bit of a trial period with that individual bird. They'll coach you through the first days and weeks and months and make sure that, oh, that's a noisy truck, Max. And make sure that it's a good fit for you. It's not, I've seen rescues, you know, they'll say, you know, within 90 days, if this is not working out, return to us and we will, you know, a lot of them will do partial refunds. Sometimes if it's a fit issue, they'll connect you in with some of their own resources. Groups like Parrot SOS can help settle birds and help fix, you know, problems before they become problems. And you've got so many resources through a rescue. It really, really is a wonderful situation. We actually think really strongly of rescues. I think everybody, if you're a regular here, you know we did a birthday fundraiser for our friends over at Greta's Roost, which is a local rescue, right, Max? And trying to get them some cages. That GoFundMe is still on. We decided to keep it open for a little bit longer because we still had some contributions coming in. The link is in the video description. Or you can go to our website, www.maxthemoluccan.com, and it will link you there. And all of that goes to Greta's Roost. Or you can donate to Greta's Roost directly if you prefer. You know, really, really, you know, they do some really, really good work. But yeah. Okay, I'm just going to grab the camera here for a minute. And I'm going to flip it. There we go. Because I want to catch up on some comments. Bacon says cockatoo is my favorite bird. Well, even with the cockatoos, every single individual is unique and different. You know, it's... If you ever, you know, if you, you know, like even our flock, I mean, every individual is different. But if you follow different cockatoos on the socials, you'll see just how different the personalities are. It's just like children, you know, they're all unique. All unique. Hi, Paula. Hi, Pete. Harpsichord says, I'll get my housekeeper to take care of the cleaning. Man, I wish I had a housekeeper. Actually, some housekeepers will not clean animal enclosures. You know, quite honestly, if I could find a housekeeper who could just do the bird cages, I would be in heaven. Right, Max? Yeah. Hey, Angie. Yeah, Nikki says, parrots end up rehomed a lot. That's where I got Nikki. Yeah, Nikki is, you know, such a wonderful, wonderful bird. You know, and sometimes people, they say, well, a rescue. I don't want a bird that somebody else didn't want. Well, don't think of it that way. Think of it as, you know, getting to know the bird and adopting it from your heart. You know, one of our birds, Tico, we got him as a baby. And quite honestly, I wish I would have adopted through a rescue. You know, I did go through the clumsy baby situation, and then I went through him trying to establish himself. You know, I made a lot of mistakes because I did not know what I was doing. He's a wonderful bird, but he's his own bird. I mean, Tico does not talk much. He's got his famous whisper, and he's got his vocabulary that he'll use when he chooses to, but he very much likes to hang out on his own. Max, totally different, right, Max? Yeah, you like to go out on your adventures. Yeah? Yeah, we'll talk about adventures in a bit, huh? Angie, yeah, the weather's lovely. Angie, I forgot to check the weather before stepping outside. What's the weather doing today? Hi ho, Jocelyn and Sylvia. Gonzilla the goat asks, can you make the bird say hi? No. No, I cannot. Can you make your toddler say hi? Same answer, right? They only say what they want to say. I've got a video coming out from our Stampede breakfast where Max says hi consistently for about 3 minutes. It's pretty funny. Hi, SMG, or SJM, sorry. Hi, Maria and Jagu. And Nikki and Astra says, I have 2 African Greys and they both are very different. Absolutely. I think a lot of people don't really appreciate the personality differences between birds. I look at the differences between Max and Mango, and it is astonishing. I mean, they're both Moluccans, but, I mean, they're both totally, totally different. Mango is very much a bird. He's got his own ways about him. Max acts more like a toddler. Max is really open to new experiences. He loves big parties. Mango's, he still hasn't really gotten even out to the deck yet. He'll look out the window and then he gets nervous about some big cars and says, yeah, I'm staying here. And it's like, well, that's fine, buddy. It's up to you. We'll do what you want to do. What's your good news, Angie? Oh, Sophia's joining us. She has budgies. Budgies can be absolutely delightful. As with any bird, you get back what you put in. You have to put the time in. You have to put the effort in. Right, Max? Marco's here. Clash, Max is actually a rescue. He's been with me for 21 years. He's 31 years young. And he came out of a basement. He came out of a dark basement where he was being kept in a cage. And he's learned an awful lot about life. And life is pretty good, right, Max? Oh, you want to turn around. Okay. How about there? Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Now I can see you. Nikki Nastra says, rescue birds will definitely bond with the new person. My bird Nikki is so sweet to me. I'm happy I got her. I definitely recommend rescues. Absolutely. Tell you a little bit of story about Tico. Tico's the bird that we got as a baby. And at the time, I was married. And Tico did not like my spouse at all. Tico very much picked me. Led to some hurt feelings. But Tico said, no, you're my person. The other one, I'll tolerate if you're not around, but, very much takes a person. Even with, I don't know if anybody here watches Einstein, but with Einstein, Marcia, and Jeff, Einstein has been with them his entire life. He will behave very differently for Jeff than he will with Marcia. Marcia's more likely to be on the receiving end of a nip. Yeah, he got her on the foot pretty good the other day. But Jeff is the one that Einstein will really listen to and really mind. So Einstein's first love, and I'm sure Marcia will admit it, is Jeff. Right, Max? Hi, Greg. So glad you joined us, harpsichord. Angie says, I'm being strongly considered for promotion and a raise at work. Oh my goodness, congratulations, Angie. I bet you're excited. Kelly asks, how does he act during thunderstorms? Well, first off, it's raining, so he wants to be inside because he thinks the rain might make him melt. He doesn't mind thunderstorms too much. The entire flock got pretty nervous last year. We had a major thunderstorm on August the 6th. What? You remember the date of a thunderstorm? Absolutely. In this case, I remember the date of it because it came with severe hail. Townhouse complex that I live in, $2.6 million worth of damage. I know. And, the roof has been replaced. They had to pull the hardy board siding to replace the trim edge. They've still got a lot of things to fix around here. Even the complex across the street. I'm just going to zoom in here on the complex across the street. You see that right there? They still have a couple of windows that are not fixed from the hailstorm that hit them. There we go, back to Max. Good job, Max. It did an immense amount of damage. And it's not just the damage that it does. It's, there's a lot of upset when there's that kind of damage. Max and the flock have been living in a construction zone very much. But it's the knock-on effects. And this is something people don't think about. It's like, okay, well, there was a major thunderstorm, there's a major hail. There's a hail the size of golf balls and chicken eggs raining down. Yeah, okay, well, insurance covers it. They replace cars, they fix buildings. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is this. The cost of insurance goes up, not just for the people who are hit by the hail, but for everybody in the geographic area. I have friends who are down in southeast Calgary, a half-hour drive away from where that major hail hit, and half-hour, 45 minutes, their insurance has gone up. And insurance goes up. Deductibles go up. Insurance companies are a for-profit, and they will make sure that they make their profit, even if they have to pay out some claims. Now I want to talk about the kicker with insurance companies. So what do you think happens if let's take Northeast Calgary for an example. Northeast Calgary got hit by the August 6th hailstorm, and a few years prior, 2 or 3 years prior, Angie can help me out on when that happened. They got hit by another hailstorm, a previous one that was also highly, highly damaging. And I mean, homes looked like somebody had taken a Gatling gun to the siding. Water backed up. It was flowing into basements. The hailstorm was bad enough that depending on windows and directions and everything else, quite a few homes had windows punched out and had water damage inside their home because of the amount of rain and the amount of hail that came blasting through where the window used to be. Yeah, outdoors came in. So those things can be pretty damaging. But the homes up in Northeast Calgary who got hit by major hailstorms, not just once, but twice in 5 years, what do you think happens to their insurance? That's right, it skyrockets. Their deductibles absolutely skyrocket. And they can get into a position where insurance companies will say, you know what, that home's a really bad risk. It's been hit twice in 5 years, and they won't carry them. So what does that mean? That means the homeowner is going to have to deal with any damage themselves. But even worse, if you cannot get insurance, who's going to carry a mortgage? That becomes a huge deal. And it becomes a pretty big deal even for complexes like townhouse complexes, where the townhouse complex, it's run by a corporation. Everyone pays condo fees into it. Similar situation we've got here at my place. Certain number of things are taken care of. In our case, exterior maintenance, because it's common property outside. Insurance for things like the hailstorms, outside insurance, etc. But, if a complex like this is pretty big, and it represents a pretty big hit to an insurance company if they have to pay out $2.6 million on damage versus, a couple $100,000 on a home or something. It adds up really quickly, right, Max? So it represents a fairly big book of risk. Complexes like these, when you're getting insurance, it's not even just one insurance company that's carrying it. You go through a broker, and the book of insurance is basically subscribed to by a number of different insurance companies. And they all have a portion, they take a portion of the risk, they take a portion of the profit, and they do that with a lot of different complexes to spread out their risk. Works super well against risks that hit a single complex. Doesn't work so well about risks that hit hundred thousands of homes, right? Hi Blaine, hi Eva. Yeah, we've been going on about the hailstorm a bit, haven't we? SJM, so glad you enjoy watching the birds. Yeah, they're a lot to take care of. Yeah, our friend Danita, she broke her arm. She fell off of her e-bike. Yeah, that really sucks. You know, I highly recommend not falling off of things. Right, Max? Yes, Max is very much real. Right now he's just watching. Yeah, Max is just chilling. I'm going to flip the camera. I'm going to pop in here again. Whoops. Sorry, folks. There we go. Max, do you think you can turn around? Turn around. There you go, honey. Do you see the camera? It's right there. Move the camera. Put you in the camera. There you go. You're in the camera. So pretty. So, benefit to Max being in the camera like this, you see more of him. You see his pretty face. He's just chilling. I'm having a harder time reading comments from this angle, but I'll come back to the comments in a minute. Yeah, but I wanted to talk for a couple minutes about our weekend. Oh, that was a sparrow, Max. Yeah, do you see him in the tree? I don't think he knew he was coming into your airspace, buddy. Came around that corner pretty quick, didn't he? Big bird. Yeah. Okay. I see you've got a new feather there that I really want to preen. Huh? Can I get that one? Yeah. Oh, boy, Max. Thank you, honey. Yeah, so Calgary. We live in Calgary, Alberta. And Calgary, Alberta is very well known for what we call the greatest outdoor show on earth, the Calgary Stampede. So we've got a rodeo, we've got a huge midway, we've got, oh, it's okay, honey, it's a sparrow. He's minding his own business. He's not going to hurt you. Good. Rodeo, you know, the Stampede grounds, just a huge, huge thing down there. It's super crowded. I quite honestly don't like going down to the grounds. You know, I don't get a lot from it. And every time I go down, I look around and go, well then, yeah, let's go home. I got other things to do. But I will sometimes take in events that are happening around the city. Yeah, that's what happens at Stampede. It's not just what happens at Stampede grounds, it's around the city. And Calgary has a tradition. It's called a Stampede breakfast. And I've got a video I'm working on about Stampede breakfast. It'll tell you a bit more about them, show you some of the fun. But what it is, it actually stems from some of the rodeos, specifically chuck wagon racing. Back, you know, in the early 1900s, I know we're talking a very long time ago, you know, chuck wagon racing was a huge thing. And the chuck wagons would race around a track, do a number of circuits of the track, and then they would have to stop the chuck wagon, stop the horses, and build out a camp stove. You know, basically show how quickly they could get set up at camp with the chuck wagons. And, you know, basically just a small iron stove. They just had to piece it together, and, you know, the winner was the one who won not just the race around with the chuck wagon, which is basically a covered wagon, and the horses, but also setting up this, you know, the stove. So hospitality is the name of the game when you're talking Western. And to show hospitality, one of the racers decided, I'm going to do something fun. Not only did he set up a camp stove, he fired it up and started cooking flapjacks for all of the other racers. Flapjacks, of course, that's what we call pancakes the 10 days of the year that we have the Calgary Stampede. I am going to talk a little bit in Calgary Western here. I'm going to teach you a few words of flapjacks. So that became a tradition, which we now know as the Stampede Breakfast. So what happens with Stampede Breakfast is various groups, quite often community groups, will gather and they will pre-announce where they're having a Stampede Breakfast, and thousands of people will attend. They will have griddles set up, huge gas-powered propane griddles, where they will have stations of people cooking. Yesterday's Stampede Breakfast that we went to had well over 2,000 people there. I didn't get the actual final count. It had 2 or 3 griddles cooking eggs, scrambled eggs, 2 or 3 griddles cooking flapjacks, coffee, juice, water. You know, they had a little bit of everything, right, Max? They had entertainment. They had live entertainment. They had games for the kids. It was very much an outdoor party festival atmosphere. And the cost for this? Absolutely free. That's part of it. That's part of the hospitality. You actually can go get a meal and not pay a cent. They say in Calgary, you could eat for 10 days without paying a penny just by getting the Stampede breakfasts. You might get awfully tired of flapjacks by the time that the Stampede's over, but if you, especially downtown, I mean, there's so many Stampede breakfasts downtown. Some of the companies will do really high-end Stampede breakfasts, Stampede events, which are catered and much bigger fare than just the Stampede breakfast, rather than just flapjacks. Whoops. Big poopers. Oh, Maxie. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah, you went poop. I know you did. You had lots of water to drink this morning, didn't you, honey? Yeah. I'm just going to flip this over. There. There you go. Yeah. Are you enjoying that sun? I'm going to shift forward just a little bit. Okay, Max? I'm going to push that forward. And I'm going to push me forward so you have a bit more light on you. I'm chasing the sun right now, folks. I've got a bit of shade, bit more shade behind me. Yeah. But yesterday, the Stampede breakfast we went to, Max loves these. And I have to tell you something. When Max goes to a breakfast, even if we're not planning to, he seems to become part of the entertainment. You know, everybody was taking pictures of some well-known celebrities at the breakfast. We had a lot of local politicians and whatnot. But Max was in just as many photos. I was in a crazy amount of photos. It was pretty amazing. I'm just going to put you on mute for 1 second, folks. Okay, I'm off mute, folks. Yeah. All right. Just have a courier delivering something there. Yeah, Max. I know. You're a good boy, Max. But yeah, so Max was in a lot of photos. And he was great. He's been to a few Stampede breakfasts now, and he knows what to expect. Walking into the breakfast, he said hello to everybody. I mean, he spent about 5 minutes just saying hello. Right, Max? Hello? Hi, Max. Hello. And I was just cracking up because he thought, yeah, awesome. You thought you were the official greeter, didn't you, Max? Moluccan cockatoo. Hi, Sherry. I'll catch up on comments in a few minutes, but Max just loved it, and he had so much fun. There was a musician there called Dan, the one-man band. And sure enough, this person was playing guitar. He had a drum set strapped on that he was playing with his feet. He had cymbals, he had a harmonica, he had a kazoo. Like, he was hooked up to the nines, and he was singing while he was playing all of these instruments simultaneously. It was pretty cool to watch. And Max was quite interested. He walks over just as the fellow starts playing The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Yeah. A weema wep, a weema wep. Did you like that? A weema wep, a weema wep, a weema wep, a weema wep. Well, Max's crest went right up, and he started dancing like little star that he is. And yeah, we ended up sort of being front and center while Max put on a show with Dan, the one-man band. And yeah, it was pretty fun, wasn't it, Max? A lot of fun. I did post a clip of that. But Max really was enjoying the live music. And you know Max, he loves live music. Right, buddy? You love live music. But yeah, Max talked them into making him one small Max-sized pancake. And we tend to walk around at these events and we say hello even to the volunteers who are cooking the pancakes. And because we go back there to say hello, we took some footage for you so we can share it. But because we went back there to say hello, we sort of said, hey, can you make us just one small pancake? And I usually say a loonie-sized pancake. Loonie is Canadian $1 coin. It's our largest coin. Yeah, about the same size of a euro, I guess. But usually what happens, whoever tries to do a loonie-sized pancake makes one that's twice that size, which is fine. And they made Max his own little pancake. Max will get upset with me if I just give him a piece of one. He'll say, how come I didn't get the rest? So he likes having his own. So he had a pancake. And it was so adorable watching him with his little pancake. Because what happens with Max, last year, he got a little tiny pancake at one of the breakfasts. So we got the pancake towards the end of the breakfast. And Max was so busy looking around, he just wanted to carry his pancake. He did not want to eat his pancake. I carried it for him for a bit. He carried it for a bit. And it was finally time to go, and we carried the pancake to the car. He carried his pancake to the car. And said, this is great. And I said, well, why don't you eat it in the car? He said, no, I don't think I'm going to eat in the car, Mom. So we kept his pancake the entire car ride home, and actually put it down, picks it up when we get home. And I said, here, why don't I grab that? I'll toss it for you. And he says, no, this is mine. Did not want to let go of his pancake. Okay, fair enough. Go inside the house, go upstairs, take off the shoes, the whole 9 yards. And Max said, hey, I want to sit on my perch. Okay, fine, you can sit on your perch. And as soon as Max was settled on his perch, he said, I can now enjoy my breakfast. And he proceeded to eat every single bite of the pancake that he'd been carrying for 45 minutes. If you try and tell me that's not a typical toddler. I mean, Max is quite a little toddler. But this year he decided to eat it while it was hot right there, and he gobbled it up like he'd never seen food before. It was pretty adorable, Max. Yeah, you enjoyed your pancake, didn't you? We said hello to a lot of people. We were tagged in a lot of photos, which is always fun. And when I got home, I was flipping through a few things, and I always tend to look at the news because Max, even in a crowd of 2,000, he could be distinctive. And if there's a news report on or something, if they got some video or something, and I knew that there were roving news reporters, I always looked to see if Max got caught in the background of a video or the background of a photo. So I'm busy scanning the backgrounds of photos, and I'm in Calgary Herald, which is our local largest newsletter in town. And Calgary is a pretty big city. And sure enough, okay, scan, and Max was not in the background of a photo. Oh no. Max was front and center in the photo with me and with Naheed Nenshi, who is the leader of our opposition party. And I mean, he could very well be the next premier of Alberta, depending how our next election goes, right, Max? Boop. Yeah. But it was, I didn't expect that. And they didn't get our name. They actually did not get the most flattering picture of Max. Max was sort of at a bit of an odd angle. But Max certainly enjoyed himself. Oh, you want to turn around? Turn around. Okay. You're good, honey. You're turned. There you go. Let's move the camera again. Yeah, but Max had a lot of fun at the breakfast. So I got home and I started trying to pull some footage off camera so I could put together some videos and share it with you. And I had the most horrific thing happen. SD card not found. Invalid SD card. Would you like to format? What the? Yeah, had issues with the card in my camera. I did manage to get a few of the photos and some of the videos off, and I'm still trying to recover the rest. But I was up until about 4 in the morning fighting, trying to recover files yesterday, and I was not very happy about it. So I did get a video done for today, and funny story, I forgot, I started posting it, then I got busy. I think somebody else squirreled at me. It was 4 a.m. I was tired. What can I say? So I got a couple of the reels up because we're trying to do more reels. Got those set up, and then I went to bed, and this morning I realized I hadn't posted that video. So I'm now posting it for tomorrow morning, which gives me a little bit more time to post. But if you are a supporter on YouTube, you've got your early access. It's just much later access than planned. But yeah, that one's a great one. That's him walking around saying hello to everybody, and I'm hoping, I thought I'll do a pop-up stream, and this way you still have a lot of good quality content of Max today. Great, buddy. Yeah, if you're new here, I want to say hello, and I want to remind you to give us a like, give us a follow. We love each and every one of you. Yeah. Will Max go to more Stampede breakfasts? Oh, he absolutely would love to. He's usually a huge hit at them. So we'll try and get him out to some of those. Right, Max? You enjoy those, don't you? Yeah, Max just loves making friends. He loves the atmosphere. Another video, super cute, and I did manage to capture this one. I did manage to catch this one and recover it. But Nenchi was leading, he was on the mic, he was introducing various people, and he did the Big Yahoo. Now, the Big Yahoo, what's this? When Nenchi was the mayor of Calgary, he did this every Stampede. He would lead people in a Big Yahoo, and he'd talk about the Big Yahoo, and he'd remind you, of course, it's not a yeehaw, it's a Yahoo. We don't want to get it wrong here, folks. And he'd get the crowd all pumped up. And he'd do a count of 3. 1, are you ready for this one? And he would do this count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and everyone would shout, Yahoo! At the top of their lungs and cheer. Max, when everybody shouted Yahoo, he lifted up his crest and he really got into it. And then she actually got the crowd to do it twice, which was great. And Max was a little bit better the first time. Second time, it was just sort of a quick head flick and a crest up. But, this is the Western bird. He is. He was dressed for it too. I mean, Calgary for Stampede, it's Western wear. It's blue jeans and cowboy hats and bandanas. Right, Max? You had your little bandana on. Yeah. Little cowboy bandana. We did the one with the fireworks because those are oh so fitting for the Calgary Stampede because there's always fireworks at the Stampede every night. And it's fitting for the 4th of July for our U.S. friends, right, Max? Yeah, you're such a good boy. Yeah, so Max really had a lot of fun at the breakfast. When we got home, he just wanted to nap. He was so tired. And the rest of the flock was pretty upset because it's like, what do you mean Max is napping? We want to party. We don't want to be quiet so our brother can nap. It's our party time. Yeah, Max. Yeah. I'm going to catch up on comments here, so I'm going to grab the phone. I'm going to flip it around again. Woo! There we go. Hi, Andrea. Yeah, this is a pop-up stream, so we didn't really plan it. So glad you joined us. I'm going to scroll back and just catch up on some comments. Now, I'm hoping to catch all comments. Sometimes I miss some comments as I go. Hi, Anna. Hi, Edie. Let's see who's commenting here. I just love this about the live streams. Everybody's chatting, everybody's commenting. Oh, I know there's some people who are sitting here who are just lurking in the background. Don't be shy. Balk up in the comments. Say hello. We've got a friendly crew here. Give us a like. Give us a follow. You know the routine. Hi, Vincenzo. Ooh! Vimothra says, and I hope I pronounce that correctly. My conure has a harness but hates it. Do you have any recommendations on how to convince him how to like it? I've got some recommendations for you, absolutely. And I'm going to help you out. I'm going to hook you up to our friends, Parrot SOS. They've got a series of harness training videos on YouTube that are absolutely free. And they'll show you how to successfully introduce a harness to a bird so that it is not a traumatic experience and the bird actually looks forward to wearing a harness. The idea is not to rope the bird like they're a steer in the rodeo, but to slowly introduce it so it becomes a positive. Max always wears a harness, and he does not blink about putting it on. He's so good. Now, the fun thing about the Parrot SOS videos about harness, she's got a playlist, and her playlist on YouTube is absolutely free, and she's a world-class trainer. So it's so fun that this is free. But when she was doing up the videos, she said, "Hey, Nicole, would Max like to model for some of these?" And she asked if Max would model some behavior. And that was great because Max is just this little expert at wearing harnesses, and he was oh so happy to model some behavior. He really, really enjoyed doing that, and we enjoy doing that too because we love talking about harnesses and harness safety. But I'm going to point you towards those. It's Parrot SOS, and just as it's spelled, SOS as an emergency. And she's got that video list right here on YouTube. She's got a playlist. I link to it every so often, but it honestly is amazing. Yeah, Robin's a friend of ours, and she's actually based out of Calgary, but she does parrot consulting worldwide. She is world renowned. She's probably blushing if she's listening to me, but she is really, really well qualified. She's been studying for years, and she knows birds. Now, for those of you who are just with me, I'm going to give you one of Robin's biggest secrets, and hopefully she'll forgive me for sharing a secret. But this secret is why I think she makes a wonderful trainer. She says the number one thing you have to do when you are working with your bird, when you're building trust, when you are training new behaviors, when you are building a relationship, when you're living with them, and this comes down to solving all bad behavior. It comes down to everything bird. It even comes down to harness training. She says the most important thing that you can do is listen to your bird. I know that's a little bit groundbreaking, right? But it's so true. If you listen to your bird and you treat them as an individual and you establish that communication and you learn how to listen, your life's going to be much easier and their life's going to be much easier. Right, Max? Now, listening to a bird, it's a skill. It's a skill that I am still learning. I know. I've had birds since the early 90s, and I'm still learning how to listen. And what I love about Robin, when she does her training, every time she does training, she'll talk at events like the Parrot Club and whatnot. I go to those talks. I might have had birds for over 30 years now, but I'm still learning. And what I love is when she talks about parrot body language. I've got an idea what I'm watching for, but it's instinctual. I kind of know what Max is saying to me just from instinct, but I can't tell you what I'm looking for. I can't quantify it. But Robin breaks it down and she'll say, "Hey, watch for these 5 behaviors, and she'll enumerate them and she'll call out what the bird is doing, and you'll look and you go, oh my gosh, she's perfectly right. That's actually what I need to look for. And rather than just sort of guessing at it or sort of having that instinct of I think this is what the bird's doing, you actually now can put a name to it. You can name the behaviors, you can name what you're seeing, and it actually improves the understanding, right, Max? Do I get it right all the time? Oh, heck no. I mean, I've only had birds for 30 years, but I love that I can learn things from her. And she's funny and she's smart. Last time she was talking at a Calgary Parrot Club event, she was, funnily enough, talking about body language. And it was great. And she told the story about she was working with a bird. She'd been working with them for a while. She was a little bit tired, and she has birds herself. And she forgot for a minute who she was working with. And she leaned in and she kissed the bird. And what she says about that experience, I kissed the bird and the bird did not like it. Yep, bird scored on her pretty good. And she says it was her own fault because she did not read that body language very effectively. And she approached that bird in a way that bird was not used to being approached. And the bird reacted. I mean, hey, if I had somebody reach out and kiss me, I'd probably react in the same way. Right, Max? Yeah. And that just surprises me. People will want to kiss Max. It's like, no, we don't kiss Max. Max is not used to being kissed. I don't kiss Max. Saliva's not good for Max. It's unhealthy for the birds. And yeah, we don't kiss the bird, but people still will try to do it. Max is pretty calm. And to date, he's not nailed anybody for that. But I honestly will have to say that to people. Don't kiss a bird that you don't know. Ask how that bird likes to be treated. With Max, if somebody new's meeting him, best place to pet a bird is the top of the head. But with Max, he says, hang on, that's a little too familiar. And if he's just meeting you for the first time, he's going to say, and I'm just going to pull back the camera here. He's going to say, I don't know you yet. How about you just stroke my back a couple of times first so I know that your hand's okay and I can watch and feel what you're doing and I can know your hand's gentle. And then you can work your way up to my head and give me a scritchy on my head. And I have people who'll see that and they'll just say, oh, no. You can't do that. You never do that. You're not supposed to touch a bird on the back. They'll take it as mates. Well, yes, within reason. I watch Max's body language, but that's the way that he likes to be approached. Why? It took me years before I could touch him on top of his head. He was scared, and I think somebody accidentally pulled some head feathers out on him. Something happened that traumatized him. So if he does not know you, and he does not know you have gentle hands, the last thing he wants you to do is touch him on top of the head. He finds it highly inappropriate. So it's all about birdie body language, right, Max? You get to learn what that bird likes and how to approach him. And even with Max, when I approach him, some days I'll reach for his head and he'll say, yeah, maybe not. And I'll start with his back and then I'll work my way up to his head. Right, for Scritchy? Does that feel good, honey? Yeah. But yeah, that's my tip for harness training. Parrot SOS. Yeah, Angie, Max is sure chilling right now. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Nathan. I know I'm a bit late catching up on comments, folks. It's because I do some chatting, and then I read some comments, and then I do some more chatting. I try and keep the focus on the bird. If Max starts talking, I'll be quiet. I'm kind of hoping sometimes when I start chattering, he'll start chattering. Oh, you want to step up and turn around? Okay. Yeah, Mom. Your knee's small, Mom. I got big feet. Oh my gosh, Blaine, I remember that big tornado. 87. Are you sure it was 87? I thought for some reason it was 86. You probably remember the year better than I do. Yeah, I remember that. I was actually in Kelowna visiting my grandmother when that big tornado hit. We're from Calgary, Alberta, so we're your cousins down to the south. But that summer, actually it was 86, because that summer I went up to the Alberta Summer Games. I was competing in synchronized swimming. I know, folks, you just learned something interesting about momager here. Keep watching, I'll tell all my secrets. But, it was 86 Alberta Summer Games that I competed in there. And, yeah, I remember driving past in the bus all of the devastation from the tornado. And it really made an impact on me as a kid. Yeah, and, oh my gosh, Blaine was in Fort McMurray in 2016. Canada's costliest natural disaster with 10,000 homes gone. I know, that was amazing, that fire. That was just heartbreaking. Blaine, did you know that Calgary's major hailstorm, August 6th last year. Insurance Bureau of Canada says it was the second most costliest disaster in terms of insurance claims for cars and houses to Fort McMurray's fire. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. How did that happen? It's because that hailstorm, it didn't just hit a few homes. It hit large swaths of Calgary. One estimation I saw said 20% of Calgary homes and 20% of vehicles parked outside, if you basically take the city, had damage from the hailstorm, varying damage. Damages range from my area where roofs, like every single roof in this community, total write-off. It's a lot of roofs. Every single car that was parked outside in this community, insurance just wrote it off because they can pop out a couple of dents, and they can replace windows. But when there are so many dents, it's actually cheaper to write off the car than to try to repair 1,000 dents. And these were pretty deep dents too. Yeah. But when you look at the scope of it, it was just it was not the amount of damage taken. I mean, the homes were still standing, but it was the number of homes hit. It was pretty amazing. Argo says, can you pet that bird more? Well, I was just a minute ago. Right now I'm holding the phone. Nathan, absolutely. Max can talk when he wants to. Hey, Max, do you want to give us a buck? No, you want to just sit quietly. Okay. In a minute, I'll pick him up and see if I can get him to give us a Bok Bok. He's usually pretty eager to do that. Hi, Annie. Oh, my goodness. Jesse, so good to meet you. Nikki says cockatoos can be the biggest goofs. Sometimes. What's up there, buddy? Yeah, did the sun just hide? Max is calm for a cockatoo. I know, it amazes me every time I say that, but it dawned on me one day at a Parrot Club meeting. I said, I was looking at the other cockatoos, and I said, Max is the calmest cockatoo in the room. Wait, what? What? How did Max end up becoming the calmest cockatoo in the room? That was just not what I would ever thought I would say about Max. But sure enough, he's chilled out over time. He really, really has. So it's pretty cool how he does. Yeah, Max, what you looking at? What you looking at? Yeah, buddy. What do you see? Yeah. I don't know, buddy. What are you looking at? Oh, somebody's smoking outdoors next door. Yeah. Yeah, somebody's smoking, buddy. Hi, Jurassic. Yeah. I'm going to just keep sliding my hand down here a little bit to see some more comments. Hi, Cheryl's Park. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm just getting down to your comment now. It's taken me a few minutes to get here. Oh, my goodness, Max. Big head flip. Yeah. Big head flip. Good job, buddy. Where's you? Yeah, it's still morning here. It's just so nice to be out on the porch right now. It's just such a lovely, lovely day. Just give me a minute, Max. I'm just going to move this so I can walk for a minute. There. Okay. Max, can I get a Bok Bok Bok? Can I get a Bok Bok Bok? Can I get a Bok Bok Bok? Yeah. Let's walk out here for a minute, okay, buddy? Here. Let's go. There. Oops. I got you tangled. I got you tangled. Yeah. Let's just walk over here. Yeah, look. Whoops. Tangle again. Look at all those. Look at those bushes. Yeah. What do you think, Max? What do you think? Yeah, I know. You want to go over there? I know, but we're not going to go over there right now. I'm going to hang out here. Yeah, someone's smoking, and smoke's not good for Max. Even though we're outside, I just thought we'd get a little further away from it. Yeah. What do you think, buddy? Oh, you want to go down here? You want to see what's on the road? Let's go down to the road. Hey. Yeah. You're down here. What's down here? Just hung up on the phone because I was not expecting a call. And I did not recognize the name. Yeah. What do you think, Max? You want to go for a walk down the road? Yeah, you walking, huh? Walking. Good job. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Well, we're not going too far because I did not grab my keys. And I don't want to walk out of cell phone range. Yeah. Good job, Max. Yeah. Can I get a buck, buck, buck? Can I get a buck, buck, buck? Buck, buck. No bucks to give, honey? Okay. There we go. All right. They just stopped smoking, so we're going to go back to our little patio area. Good job, Max. Good job. Yeah, so there's a little patio area. Okay. All right. Gonna sit down again, Max. Good job. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah. I know, Max. I know. Well, thanks for your patience while I was walking around for a few minutes. My best friend, Eagle. Love that username. Max, have you ever made friends with an eagle before? Yeah, Max likes to mumble a bit. Annie, we do have a YouTube membership. You see some of the people with their names in green. They are members of our subscribers group on YouTube. And they get some perks such as special emojis. They get special recognition beside their name, a special emoji. If we can't get to all comments, we will always get to the comments of our supporters and our regulars, and it really helps us pick them out. But they also get early access. So, Annie, if you catch our early release video today, you'll see Max chatting at the Stampede breakfast just non-stop. He went for 3 minutes greeting everybody with a hello, and then he decided he'd used up all of his words for the day. Yeah, Martha, Max is pretty. He's enjoying a bit of breeze right now. Air's out here pretty good, isn't it, Max? Yeah, I know. Max is 31 years young. He just turned 31 on July the 1st. July the 1st, not just Canada Day, but also Max's hatchiversary. Yeah, it's a celebration, isn't it, Max? Such a nice day out here. Yeah, our sun just dipped behind a cloud a bit, which is nice because we get a little bit of shade. And it's not quite as hot because I'm going to be overheating soon. Natalie says, I used to enjoy Klondike days in Edmonton. Yeah, the Midway would leave Calgary and then go up to Edmonton for Klondike days. Klondike days, similar attractions to the Stampede, I think. You had the exhibition and whatnot. Yeah, lots of concerts, lots of music, lots of everything, right, Max? Are you a happy boy? You happy? You know what, Max? What a good boy. Yeah, look at you. Yeah, Angie, Stampede is expensive. I've heard that even entry to the grounds is now $25. And then if you want a drink, I mean, events like Stampede, they really expensive when you go to an event like that because they know you're a captive audience. You want mini donuts? Hey, $20. You want a bottle of water? That'll be $6. They know that people will spend that kind of money because there are no other options down at the grounds, and most people don't bring a picnic basket with them. And then there's the rides and the games, and everything down there costs a lot of money. But I actually don't go down to the grounds, Angie. I enjoy Stampede from around, like Stampede breakfast and whatnot. There's so much you can do. And Max can't go down to the grounds, so we try to do the Stampede things that he can do. Hang out at events around the community and whatnot. Right, Max? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we have a pretty quiet Stampede. But if you are in Calgary or you want to go to the Stampede, Angie, remember, there are some days where they have free admittance to the grounds. You do have to go within certain times, but they have free admittance. If you go there early, you can get your hand stamped. If they've got free admittance on a day before 9 a.m. or something, maybe on a family day, go in before 9, get your hand stamped, and then you can go back later in the day. You've got the re-entry privilege at that point. So that's always an option. Yeah, Max. They usually have a few days like that and a few opportunities to get in for free. But, when you get down to the grounds, you're going to be spending a lot of money if you want to do anything. It's frustrating, right, Max? Sure is. Sure is. Max is a Moluccan cockatoo. He's also known as a salmon-crested. What? Mom, leave my feathers alone. What the heck? He's got brilliant orange feathers behind his head. And he does not want to show those off right now. Nope, there's one. There's one. Peek, peek. Yeah. When he lifts up his crest, he really shows them off. But right now, he's not in the mood to lift his crest. Hello, Sandip. And I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm trying to guess the pronunciation. Please give me phonetics in the chat. Yeah, Annie, Max is really, really relaxed in public. Yesterday, we were in a crowd of a couple thousand people, and Max was just going, yeah, this is fine. This is great. I get to go meet people. I get to say hello to everybody. And, Max thought they'd all come to see him. They were cheering for him. But, yeah. Hopefully we can salvage a bunch of video from our phone, from the SD card that decided to die out on me yesterday. But, we're doing our best to get you some of that video. It's just frustrating when technology happens. Right, Max? Hi, Rama. Ken, Max is a Moluccan cockatoo. Hi, Jersey. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Sophia. What state do we reside in? The state of confusion. Oh, sorry. We don't actually reside in a state. We are in Canada, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So we are just north of Montana. Right, Max? Yeah. It's actually kind of funny how many social media birds come from Canada. I mean, we've got Barney, the West Coast cockatoo. We've got Iago, Lucky Lou and Coco 2. In Calgary alone, we have, oh my gosh, we've got Max, obviously. We've got Gizmo. Gizmo lives quite close to me. I could probably walk over to Gizmo's house from here, to be honest. We've got Milo, the Quaker from Bacon Pancakes. Actually, there's some sad news this week from Milo. Milo passed away unexpectedly. And yeah, he was the one who started the whole Quaker anthem of making bacon pancakes. And if you listen to Milo's song, he's got the chorus in there of making Milo pancakes. But yeah, he is a pretty cool bird. He was pretty young, 13 years young, and he passed away, and that's young for a Quaker. But yeah, he's a local. Who else do we have here? We've got Jenny. Yeah, it's amazing how many local birds are celebrities, right, Max? Yeah. And then there's Max. Max has some celebrity news to share, don't you, Max? Max, who's busy preening, is about to turn 100,000 followers on Facebook. I think it's likely to happen this week. That's super exciting for us, right, Max? Wouldn't it be cool to turn 100,000? Yeah, it's super, super exciting for us. And yeah, if you're not following us on Facebook, go give us a follow over there. Obviously, if you're not following us on YouTube, give us a follow over here. We're almost at 40,000 on YouTube, but almost to 100,000 on Facebook. And there's something really magical about that number. That's just such a huge milestone. I remember when I started posting and sharing Max. When I had 100 followers, I was amazed. I said, oh my gosh, Max has got 100 followers. Oh my goodness, how did this ever happen? And then when he got 1,000 followers, I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather. 1,000 people out there that I did not know love my bird and are watching my bird. And now it's, hundreds of thousands. Like when you start looking, I mean, let's round up 40,000 on YouTube. Let's round up 100,000 on Facebook. Instagram, 65,000. I mean, right there, you've got 200,000 people who are following this one little bird, and that's just people who've subscribed. And I know an awful lot of folks who watch on a regular basis are not actually subscribed. They did not click the follow button. They did not click the bell. They don't comment. They don't like. They listen quietly. And I mean, I appreciate it. I know you sometimes like a bit of privacy. But yeah, give us a like, give us a follow. We appreciate that so much. That's the applause that keeps us going and keeps us sharing and keeps us posting. Yeah. Hi, Pamela. So good to see you today, Pamela. Oh, Pamela's saying thank you to whoever gave her a membership. Pamela, I think you were one of the gifted memberships on Saturday from Raising Cane. When you gift memberships, it is a little bit random who gets them. And yeah, and that's always kind of exciting. So Pamela, the perks you get with your membership, memberships support the channel and they help, they help cover some of our costs and whatnot, which is kind of cool. And it's nice. We put a lot of work into things. But memberships, you get, your name shows up in color. You get a membership icon beside your name, and that changes color the longer you're a member. You get access to some special emojis. One of the members, can you toss up some of the fun emojis in the chat just to show off? Maybe Charles Park, I know you use them sometimes. We've got some really cool emojis that you can use. You get early access to our daily videos. Usually I share those out just after midnight our time for the next day. But if, whenever I get those ones uploaded and posted is when I share them out. So you get early access there. And you also get some behind the scenes in our community posts. So yeah, and I'm going to get a bit more behind the scenes happening. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. If you're a member and you're ordering from our Etsy store, make sure that you let us know when you place the order. We usually do something a little special when we ship. We just try to make it extra special for you, right, Max? Yeah. Anything that ships direct from our store, we can do extra goodies in. You might get an extra note from Max saying thank you. T-shirts, anything off of our Teespring store does not ship directly from here. And anything, some of our T-shirts, we're expanding the T-shirts we've got on Etsy. Some of them ship direct from the company that manufactures if we don't have them in stock. We are setting that up so that you can pick out your size and color and design, and we can fulfill. And those might not ship direct from Max Central, but everything else does. Right, Max? Yeah, so good, Max. Oh, so good. Look at you. Yeah, you're getting those scritchies now. Yeah. Yeah, orange, it's actually sort of a reddish shade. It's not quite salmon shade. You should actually ask our friends over at Aviator if they could make Max an orange harness. That would be kind of cool. Salmon orange. Hi, Andrea. Yeah, Andrea says she's always missing live streams. She doesn't always get the notification. Make sure you click on the bell, subscribe and click on the bell, and that hopefully will give you more notifications. We don't have a lot of control over what YouTube does for notifications. I have had people say that, they'll get it on their phone if they've got it set up so that they remain logged into YouTube. But if they don't have YouTube open on their phone and they log out, YouTube has no way to notify you. Yeah, Max. Oh, that feels good, doesn't it, buddy? Yeah, but you can also mark your calendar. We do a live stream every Saturday as a regularly scheduled live stream, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Occasionally, we'll have an event like Palooza where we don't do that, but we always give you lots of advance notice. But 11 a.m. on Saturdays, Mountain Standard Time. And just for setting your clock right now, if you're watching us live, right now it is 12:30 Mountain Standard Time. So this is usually the time we're ending our regular Saturday live stream. So, yeah. Hi, Eddie. Hi, Anna. Raylene says you're handsome, Max. And we got a Bok Bok from Steven. Bok Bok. Hey, folks, I want to let you in on a little secret. If you're ever out in the community, if you're in Calgary and you run into Max, make sure you run up to us and balk enthusiastically and let us know you're a huge fan. We might have something for you. We're beginning to carry a few goodies, a few stickers and magnets, and if you come running up to us and you balk enthusiastically, you might get gifted. We'll only carry a few, so, if 100 people balk up at us on a day, we can't do it, but we will try and reward the first, and we'll have maybe a business card, and it's always cool to meet you. I mean, it really is. We'll stop for a photo op. It really is fun, but make sure you run over and you balk up for us, right, Max? Bok Bok? Bok Bok. Yeah. Angie knows the Bok Bok rule. Yeah, and I know Angie, she's going to come to Palooza this year, and she's going to run up to us, and she's going to balk pretty loudly. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, and Andrea is joining us from New York. And so Cheryl's Park. It's so cool. Chris is from Tennessee. Shakuthama says hi. And I apologize if I mispronounce the name. Let me know the correct pronunciation in the comments. Hi, Sean. Hi, Andrea. Yeah. Oak House says hi. Oh, my goodness, Max. We got everybody saying hi to you today. Sean, it's actually just afternoon here, and Max is enjoying the weather. He's enjoying it out on the patio. It's just such a lovely, lovely day today. Oh, so true, Annie. Such good news. She says to Aaron, Moluccans are the best. So funny, lively, cuddly, but not too cuddly. It can become a problem. Very loving, very smart, and they love to talk. Check rescues in your area, and why not volunteer? Absolutely. And as I always add to that, every Moluccan is different. Every Moluccan has different needs. different desires. They are personalities, just like every child is different, right, Max? Mango and Max, I couldn't see two more different cockatoos. They are totally, totally different from each other. Not only, like, I can look at them and I can tell you just from, oh, yeah, we saw birds fly past. It was above you. Not only in the way that they hold their feathers and the facial look, I mean, Mango looks a lot more like Barney. Like, when you just look at Mango, like, the face looks like Barney, the way he holds the feathers. The vocalizations are a little bit different from each. The behaviors and the way they approach the world, very different. I mean, last night is a great example. I served dinner a little bit late. Oh, it's okay. It's just a bird flying overhead, honey. Yeah, you're okay. Vocalizations are totally different in the way they approach. So last night, I served dinner a bit late. My bad. Max had a really exciting day, and he was a little overtired, and he was napping. I served dinner a bit late, and I went down because I realized it was late, and I started cooking, and Mango was absolutely losing it. For him, food is really important, and you don't break the covenant of you feed him at certain times. He can have a bowl full of crunchies, but it's not the same if he does not get his dinner at the right time. So he was a bit upset. Max was a bit upset. For the flock that was upset, I just basically went around and I handed out quick snacks. Handed everybody a piece of dry organic pasta. Now, Mango does not like that, so I gave him, what did I give him? I gave him a piece of birdie bread, and he flung it, and he looks at me like I was a traitor, and he stomped around. So then I offered him a carrot, and he flung that. And when I finally offered him his cup of food, he flung that and he stomped around and he was just yelling. He was so hangry. He was beyond getting his food. He was just mad at the world and he didn't want to stop to eat. And so I said, "Do you want me to hand feed you?" And he said, "No, I don't want that." So I made him another bowl of dinner, just a little cup. And I just put a little bit of honey on the rim because I know he absolutely loves that. It's one of my tricks with him. And I talked to him calmly, and I gradually gave him the cup. At this point, he'd calmed down a little bit, and he took it nicely, and he went, "Ooh, hey, there's a little bit of honey on the rim, and we better find out what's inside." And he started eating the whole dinner. I mean, he ate just with gusto. He really enjoyed dinner, and it was the exact same thing he just flung a minute ago. But it was basically because he was just beyond himself. He was that toddler who just was so angry that he was hungry and I hadn't fed him at the right time. The food was going to fly. He did not care that he had food in his food bowl. He did not care that I had treats for him. He wanted his dinner, and he wanted it half an hour earlier than I served it. He did not want to wait while I cooked. He did not want me handing him food. Like just a typical toddler. I get him. I understand. Max, if he's hangry, as soon as he gets food, he just whips right into it because, oh my goodness, he'd better eat it because he is hungry. But Mango, when he gets into hangry, you got to get him to calm down before handing him the food, because otherwise the food's going to go flying and he's just going to stomp his little feet. He is adorable. He really is. Mango's super high energy. Like, if he was out here, he would not be sitting on my knee for this long. He'd be bouncing off of everything, swinging off the umbrella, and running laps. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, every bird is unique. When they say African greys are the best talkers, they can be. Not every gray talks. Not every gray talks. And that's really important to say, because you don't get a bird because you think they're going to talk. I didn't think that Max was going to talk until the day that suddenly realized that I was having a conversation with him, and suddenly realized he was coming up with his own words for things. Sun lobster is his way to tell me I got a sunburn, because he does not know how to say sunburn. But you know what? He's not wrong. It's a sun lobster, all right. Yeah, but he's learned to communicate with words, and I don't force him to talk. I mean, he talks when he chooses to, and it's just like a toddler learning. I talk to him all the time, and he learns. My gray, he's only got a few words. I mean, what his favorite thing to say is whisper. He'll say, "I want." He'll make drinking sounds when he wants water. He'll say hi. He'll say, "Come here, come on up." He'll call himself His Greatness. Like, he has his own vocabulary, but he uses it in an appropriate way when he wants to. You know, especially when he wants the rest of the flock to be quiet. He's learned that one. Yeah. You know, he's learned how to tell Max. Max will sometimes get mad because he sees the other flock members eating a treat. Maybe he was playing and he thinks he's missing out. Max will get mad at me. And usually Tico will wait until Max calms down from his little tantrum, and they'll just look at Max and say, food bowl. Then you can just see Tico saying, Max, you silly bird. For 30 years, every time somebody's given you a treat and you have not been ready to grab it with your beak, it's been put in your food bowl. Maybe you should look there first before throwing a tantrum that you don't have a treat. You know, come on. You know, Max sometimes will forget to check his food bowl. And usually as soon as he quiets down, I'll tell him food bowl and he'll go look and say, oh, hey, look, I got treats in here. What do you know about that? But yeah, he's very different. Tico likes to boss him around. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, what's wrong? I just stepped on your leash. That's what's wrong. Yeah. Got a big fluff? A big fluff? Oh, yeah. They are weed whacking across the road. It's a scary noise, isn't it? Hi, Steven. Now, Max, the reason I had you sitting on my knee is I wanted 2 hands for the phone. Can we go back on my knee? Thank you. Hi, Pamela. Bok Bok, Pamela. Oh, my goodness. Paula, Sunflower, Oak House. I think I already said hello to Oak House, though. Oh, straight to the point. They've been watching a lot of cockatoos and wondering if Max has the same diet as other cockatoos, other subspecies. So every individual bird, talk to your vet. You know, I always say talk to your vet because what I do for my bird may not be right for your bird, even if there's the same species. Different birds have different needs. You know, if your bird has a heart condition or a liver condition or is overweight, they might need a different diet. So what I do for my flock, and this is true for Max and the Gray, the Amazon, everybody, they get a bowl full of crunchies. And crunchies is just a pelleted mix. That's always in their bowl. They don't get a lot of seed because seed is not healthy for them. Seed is very fattening. It's like you eating chocolate bars all the time. But the pelleted foods are well balanced. Now, some people will say pelleted foods are enough. I don't agree with that. And I think I think the majority of vets will even say you do need supplements. You know, pelleted foods are great. And there's many different ones out there. I mean, Mango loves Harrison's. Max likes Supreme. But I try to teach my flock to try different brands and different flavors, because the day that something's out of stock, I don't want a bird upset with me. Mango was pretty upset with me the day that I ran out of Harrison's. And I said, well, I got lots of other crunchies here, buddy. And he threw them one by one on the floor and said, that is not my crunchie. Now he's learned that other crunchies are okay to eat. And he actually kind of likes a few of them too. He still primarily eats Harrison's, but I make sure that he knows that the other crunchies are there because I can't predict when there's going to be a stock problem. So we got crunchies. Then I supplement that fresh vegetables. Vegetables are good for you. I mean, if you get a bird, you're going to have vegetables in the house. You're going to eat some too. It's going to be healthier for you. But fresh veggies, carrots. Carrots are delicious. Squash. Green veggies such as broccoli and peas. Corn is good. Corn can be, corn has a lot of sugar in it, but it's okay too. There are lists of the good ones out there. Avoid things like mushrooms. Birds cannot handle fungus. Things like tomatoes, birds can eat. I know there's a debate if it's fruit or a vegetable. I know it's a fruit, but I always think of it as a vegetable. Tomatoes, you can eat a little bit of, but they cannot eat tomato leaves or stems. Absolutely not. And tomatoes can be very acidic, so moderation. But I always get the birds a lot of fresh veggies, and I tend to mix it up a bit. Mango really, really likes his carrots. Flock likes parsnips. Things like potatoes, sweet potatoes or yam are good, not all the time, and the potatoes do need to be cooked before serving. So we just microwave them, right, buddy? We cook without any salts. Some fruit. Fruit has a lot of sugars in it, so not too much fruit. But the flock loves fruit. They love melon. They love grapes. They love apples. Right, Max? Do you know anything about apples? You're trying to turn around on my knee. I know, buddy. You're just walking in little circles on my knee, aren't you? Yeah. Apples, grapes. If I have it in the house and I'm having some, I offer a little bit. With fruits, avoid fruit pits. Fruit pits can contain things like cyanide, which is not healthy. So apple seeds, cherry pits, anything like that, remove. Things like melon. Melon seeds are perfectly fine for the birds. They're seed, not a pit. One thing that Tico really loves is fresh squash and fresh pumpkin. And Tico will actually carve an entire squash and be very happy about it. Tico carves more than he eats, but that's fun. It's foraging, right, buddy? Yeah. There's a whole list of foods, though, even in the fruit and veggies that are a no-no. I mentioned you cannot not feed fungus like mushrooms. You cannot not feed things like avocado. So make sure that you do a little bit of quick research before offering your bird. If the internet says something is safe, don't trust the internet, but look at your source. Is it on an official page? Is it a page you can trust? Is it something that is mentioned in multiple places? You use your brain when you are looking up information on the internet. Don't trust ChatGPT. ChatGPT gets wrong all the time, and you don't necessarily know what sources it's using and the veracity of those sources. So yeah, a bit of common sense with that. If you've got a Parrot club and they've published a list of safe foods, that's probably a good list to go from. But the absolute best list is the one given to you from your vet. Your vet may have some special needs for your bird and may have some special suggestions. Sometimes the vet will say, oh, he's absolutely got to be on this really expensive food that only I sell. I usually take that one with a grain of salt because I say follow the money, who's getting rich here. But yeah, and the birds get some nuts and seeds occasionally as treats. It's not all the time. They'll get some warm foods. They will do some of the, Higgins has got things like Worldly Cuisines. Chop Shop's got some dehydrated and freeze-dried veggies. Those things are all wonderful for the birds too. If you don't have fresh veggies for the birds, look at something that has been freeze-dried. That keeps most of the nutrients. Look at something that's been frozen. Sure, frozen's not as good as fresh, but the way that things are frozen today, they keep most of their nutrients. I mean, they're pretty good, right, Max? One thing I love doing for a chop, and a chop is just chopped up veggies, and what makes a great dinner for the flock is I'll take some frozen organic riced veggies. Rice means chopped in little bits about the size of a grain of rice. And, we've got a really good mix of those. Broccoli and cauliflower and carrot. And, there's a few different ones out there. But organic, great. I'll keep those in my freezer. I might cook it up with maybe a little bit of a whole grain rice. Or maybe an organic pasta that's maybe a quinoa and rice-based pasta. And I'll serve that. I might put a bit of sauce on it that's organic baby food. You know what the great thing about baby food? It's basically just pureed fruits or veggies. No additives. Think whole foods. Don't go for anything that's got a whole bunch of additives. Exception there being some of the formulated foods that are made specifically for birds. But human foods with a lot of additives, not great. Sure, Max loves eggies. He gets them usually only once a week. It's a nice little treat for him. Everything in moderation. Yesterday he got a miniature pancake. He absolutely loves pancakes. Are pancakes healthy? Not entirely, but it's a nice treat. And eating a pancake once a year at a Stampede breakfast is not going to hurt him. It's going to be very social for him. He's going to really appreciate it. And, it's always in moderation. I use my judgment. It's like having a kid. Chocolate bars are not great for kids, right? You wouldn't feed them a steady diet of chocolate bars, but the occasional chocolate bar, absolutely. You can treat. Your birds, no chocolate. They cannot digest chocolate. No chocolate for birds. No, things like milk products. Birds cannot eat those as well. Having said that, Mango absolutely loves cheese, but we try to stick, if he gets a little bit of cheese occasionally as a treat, we stick to one of the harder cheeses, which don't have the same lactose in them, right, Betty? Yeah. But always talk to your vet. You're turning around, are you, honey? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I know my knee's too small for your feet. But your vet will know what's good for your bird, and he'll know, or she'll know, what is recommended. Yeah, you're just spinning. You're spinning. Hey, Max, turn around. Come on up. Arm. Okay, Max. You want arm? There you go. Yeah. Here. Do you need to go poop? Go poops. Go poop. Do you gotta go poop? No, not right now. Okay, we'll go back on the knee then. Good job. Hi, Andrea. Hey, Mr. Snoopy. Mr. Snoopy, Barney's actually Canadian. We would never be able to meet up with an American bird except virtually because we cannot cross the border and they cannot cross the border. Parrots like Max are considered exotic birds, exotic pets, and taking them across the border takes an awful lot of paperwork. It takes a couple of weeks of quarantine, veterinary quarantine, and it's pretty expensive. It's not somewhere you can easily travel with a bird, right, Max? Yeah. Yeah, Max is pretty calm. He's keeping a pretty close eye on the person across the street right now who is doing a bit of weed whacking. And that's one of the reasons Max keeps turning around, because he wants to keep a close eye on that person. What? What are you doing, buddy? You spin around, huh? Hi, Dragon. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I don't know how to pronounce anything in Cyrillic alphabet. Max can talk when he wants to. He can sing when he wants to. West Virginia Wildlife says, are you ever scared of being bit? I'm going to let you in on a secret. Every bird bites. If somebody says, my bird has never bitten me, I'm going to encourage you to add one word to the end of that sentence, which is yet. Yet. Every bird bites. When they're scared, when they're unable to communicate effectively, they will occasionally bite. It happens. Sometimes it's an accident. Tico the Gray got me really good one day. Oh, you're nervous about that noise, I know, but it's okay. It's across the street and I'm here. Tico got me really good one day. He was trying to climb up my shirt. And I was wearing a shirt that was really slippery material. And he felt himself sliding. And so he decided to grab onto what looked like maybe that's a branch that I can grab onto. And he grabbed onto my collarbone. And there was a shirt on top of my collarbone, and the shirt was slippery, and he felt the shirt sliding my collarbone. And he didn't realize that I was underneath there. And he grabbed really hard onto my collarbone to pick himself up, and as his feet slipped, he panicked a little bit, and he crunched pretty good. I had a huge bruise from that. He didn't mean to, but it's, it happens. It can happen. The last time Max bit me, somebody walked past having a really loud argument, And Max was just taken back to his first life when he was living in a basement. And he does not deal well with voices raised in anger. He does not. So, he just reacted. Like, he looked at me quite surprised. I needed to break. If I would have realized that people were walking past arguing and he was on me, I would have immediately told him he was okay and tried to distract him. But he just went into just that pure instinctive, oh my gosh mode. He panics. So yeah, it happens. Birds can and will bite. But if you can communicate with them, if you can read their body language, if you listen to them, the odds of getting bit are quite low. Oh, Dragon, thank you for the reminder. After the stream, I'm going to take a look at that and I'm going to share it out. That photo you did, that picture you did of Max. Raising Cane sent me a reminder about that, and then I got going on something. I got busy. I'm so sorry about that. Melissa says, Happy Hatch Day, Max. Yeah, Max's Hatch Day was Canada Day, July the 1st. We had a GoFundMe to support Parrot Rescue and supported Greta's Roost, who is a local parrot rescue. Yeah, that's right, Max. You're nodding. And that's still going. If you wanted to make a donation or if you wanted to share it out, it is linked in the description of the video, and it's also on our webpage. You can donate to Greta's directly, or you can go through the GoFundMe. I'm going to do one more shout out from everyone who's donated to the GoFundMe on our next live stream scheduled on Saturday. Yeah. Oh, Angie just invited me to the High River Stampede Brekkie. Angie, so awesome of you. Can you send me the information on that one? Just message it to me. I know you got me in the messenger, and that way it's in front of me. Max is 31 years young. So glad you joined us, Andrea. Yeah, white's beautiful, Max. Jonda is from Ohio. Prakash said hi. Rukkumar said hi. Anna said hi. Meady said hi. You are beautiful, Max. Tiki says, love Max. Bok Bok Bok. Tiki, we love you too. And Tiki's one of our members. Oh my gosh, so exciting, Max. Pamela says, thank you to Raising Cane. I'll make sure I pass that on to her. Tiki's just found all of the emojis. So much fun. Yeah, thanks. Pamela says, you're a cutie pie, Max. Aya says you've had excellent videos recently. Oh, I'm so glad that you appreciate them, Aya. I'm hoping to have some good ones from the breakfast. We had a little bit of a snafu with the SD card in my camera, so I've lost some files, most of which I already had backed up. But everything from yesterday's Stampede breakfast is something I'm trying to recover right now. Not too happy about that, but I'm doing my best. It's actually one of the reasons why a regular video today was delayed, and we thought we'd do a live stream instead. That one's coming out tomorrow, but members can see it early. It's already up, and it's Max saying hello to everybody at the breakfast. Max sure had fun with that, didn't you, buddy? Yeah. And we want to do a video talking about Stampede breakfasts and all the things Stampede, right, Max? Have some fun with that. Hi, Christy. Max is not very good at saying thank you. He's very good at saying I want. Hi, Severin. Chrissy, why are you sad? Why is your heart broken? Annie, I'm not sure about Johnny Holt Barrett's bird, if they was an umbrella or not. If you know, please balk up in the comments and let us know. It's actually kind of amazing how many celebrities have large parrots. Yeah, Max, I know. Yeah, you're pretty special, buddy. Dayton, so glad you're watching us. Max barks when he wants to. His favorite is a Bok Bok Bok. Yeah, we'd love to run into you. Annie's from Asheville, North Carolina. Hey, Emily. A asks, is Barney smaller? Yes, he is. I think it's pretty safe to say most, if not all, Moluccans are smaller than Max. Max is really unusually large. Emily says she turns into a sun lobster a lot in the summer as well. Yeah, Max would tell you you're a sun lobster. I'm very, very pale, so I burn easily too. Ooh, Pamela asks, what's Max's favorite nut? I think it's got to be a walnut. I think everybody likes walnuts around here, right, Max? Yeah. Hi, Marcella. Yeah, Mama Nova says so beautiful. Hi, Gunter and Fiqui and Beverly and Brian. McGilla. The Mimic. Ooh, Anne has a great question. How strong is Max's eyesight? Birds see more colors than we see. Birds don't just see the regular spectrum, they also see well into the UV spectrum. So when Max looks at things, he's going to see things that I don't see. Max's range of vision, he has one eye on each side of his head, and all parrots do. And the reason why birds' eyes are positioned like that is it gives them a 270-degree range of vision. Now, with our eyes on the front of our head, we've got better depth perception, but what birds do to get the depth perception, they will bob their head. You'll often see a bird do a quick head bob before taking off, and they're just looking at things from two different spaces and calculating in their brain distances and all of the rest of it. So yeah, they're really amazing how they see things. But just like humans, birds can get cataracts, they can have macular degeneration, they can have eye issues, right, Max? Yeah. But Max has pretty good vision, and he can see things I can't see. Like, he knows when it starts raining in a distance long before I do. So they're built to have really good vision because they have to be able to spot predators and food from a long distance, right, Max? You just have to pay attention to them, right? Yes. Hi, Jersey. Hi, Minnie. Max talks when he wants to. Yeah, Danielle says she panics too. Absolutely. Sandra asks, do you pull his feathers so he can't fly away? That pulling feathers would be incredibly cruel. Nobody pulls bird feathers. What you're thinking about are clipping feathers, which is a totally different thing. Clipping feathers are when you take some of the flight feathers, like these ones. Max is unclipped, so I'm just going to show you one of the flight feathers here. You take a feather like this and you trim it with a pair of scissors so it's shorter, and that would remove that much lift. Now, you wouldn't do every feather, you'd do every second feather. So see if Max will let me showcase the wing. So you'd reduce the amount of lift. Big bird like Max still would have lift. Even a scared bird has amazing powers of lift, even fully clipped. Instead, we use a harness, for safety. Clipping birds, it's controversial, but clipping feathers and trimming feathers, it's really no different than a haircut. It does not hurt the bird. The feathers will molt and new feathers will come in, so they'll regrow. It's sometimes the safest thing if your bird flies and you have high windows in your house, to reduce the risk of an injury inside the house. If you've got a lot of kids in and out of the door, you can put up bead curtains and you can teach the kids to keep the windows shut. You can do your best, but sometimes clipping a bird in that situation is good because it reduces the chance of the bird flying out the door because they have less flight. With Max, we wear a harness every time we go outside. It's a rule. And before I open the door, I usually secure the birds. So I'm super, super cautious about it. Super, super cautious. Yeah. Hi, Sheila. Sandra, if Max is healthy, and that his age range could be 80, 90, 100 years, but a lot depends on diet, exercise, and underlying health conditions. There's a lot of cockatoos who don't make it that old. Just like there's a lot of humans who, a human lifespan, I know a number of people who've lived into their hundreds. But the odds of any one of us living into our hundreds are low. My dad is 89. I know, 89, that's pretty amazing. But he's outlived a lot of people, male Canadians born in the 30s. The number of them who make it to 89 or 90 or 91 is much smaller than the number who make it to 65, as an example. It's a lot depends on health and pre-existing conditions and, accidents, and a lot that's out of control. But there's a lot that is in our control. And just having a healthy lifestyle, it's important for the birds, it's important for you. Ah, tiki tiki. Yeah, Max has his little throne here. He's happy sitting on my knee. He's getting a little bit fictitious. I'm going to finish catching up on comments, and I'll see if Max wants to balk for us. And then I'll end the stream. How's that sound, folks? Yeah. Hi, Florenco. Hi, Randy. Hi, Sandra. Sandra, no, Max was a rescue. He did not come from a pet store. Just going to shift the camera. Hello. There you go, Max. Yeah. Yeah, it's Teddy down there, honey. Yeah, we'll flip the camera back around. Hello, that's right, Max. Hello. You're so polite. It's our neighbor. The reason why I flip the camera around when our neighbors walk past is I'm mindful of their privacy. And, if I'm at an event, a public event, there's, people expect there to be cameras and things going on. But somebody who's stepping out of their front door, they may not appreciate having a camera right there in their face. So I tend to rotate the cameras just to give my neighbors privacy. There's the expectation there. And I think that is respect as well. Right, Max? Yeah. We show some respect to our neighbors. Randy says you're a beautiful baby, Max. Yeah, Sandra, he's a rescue. I actually strongly encourage people not to buy parrots from pet stores. And a lot of pet stores have quit selling the large parrots. And that is a very good thing. Breeders that are breeding the large birds for profit, these birds don't make very good pets. They're loud. They need an immense amount of attention. I often will say it's like having a special needs toddler. And it is. You're constantly cleaning up. You have to spend a lot of time and attention with them. It works for some people, but it's hard. I mean, you cannot just leave a bird in a cage all day. It's not fair to the bird. You would not want to be locked in a cage all day. They need enrichment. Right, Max? Your toes are crossing. You're trying to turn around on my knee. I know. I need bigger knees. You got such big feet. Hi, Diane. Yeah, Max is enjoying his sun time. Danielle, we love answering questions, and we try to do that on streams whenever we can. We don't always catch all of the questions. We don't always say hello to everybody. We don't see every comment, but we try our best. And I think that's important. I mean, we all like to be seen. We all like to be heard. I tend to try and answer the good questions, the real questions. If somebody's asking me what species of trees in the background, I might say, oh, that one there, that is a Columnar aspen. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. And if I've got 20 questions, I'm going to pick the ones that are the most relevant. But I always think of a live stream as a conversation. If Max starts talking, I get quiet. But if he's just hanging out quietly, I try to sort of enter into the conversation. And I appreciate questions, and I appreciate people chatting with us. Hi, Kathleen. Yeah, Max sure has the sassy head tilts going on, doesn't he? He sure does. Yeah. TJ Booth says we should not make a market for exotic animals. Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. But I'm going to point out that there are a lot of animals that are currently living. Like, I don't think we should be breeding them. But we have a lot of animals who are currently living in care. A lot of exotics who are living in care. A lot that are in the rescues. Those are the ones that need to be rehomed. Those are the ones that need to be provided for. We have a duty to them. We have a duty to give them their best possible life. For Max, that means we get outside. That means we go to events, and I make sure that he has lots of stimulation. He loves the camera, so I put the camera on him. Rest of my flock, they're not as crazy about the camera, and Max can get really jealous when the camera's on them. So they're not on camera as much. But Max, it's his channel. It's his channel, right? It was a bird. Good job, buddy. That was a bird flying by. Did he invade your airspace? Yeah, you saw him early and you started warning him off. Good job. It was pretty amazing, Max. Hi, Edna and River. Yeah, Max is a superstar. Yeah. Oh my goodness, we've been streaming for almost 2 hours? Wow, I did not realize that. Well, folks, I think we're going to end the stream. But I want to say Bok Bok to everybody. If you're new here, make sure you like, make sure you follow, make sure you catch some of our other stuff. We've got some really fun videos coming out this week. I'm hoping to recover a bunch of stuff off that SD card that decided yesterday. But I want to wish everybody a really wonderful week. Bok Bok, everybody. We love all of you. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.